This is an installation video for the Subtle Side Splitters for the S30 chassis. This one's a passenger side that we're looking at. You can see the larger lip with those two oblong holes goes toward the front of the car. And that section goes in the back. The driver's side is just a mirror. We'll see that in a minute. Here we got the car up on the lift, just to make it easier to see. So underneath here, we've got the pinch weld. We're coming up into the fender. This bolt that attaches is recessed below the surface of the fender. And then this one here is sticking down. So this one, first thing we're gonna do is take that out. So I'm gonna take that out and we'll kind of show you how to put this into place. So here we move to the driver's side. It's just sitting in place. I've got that front screw bolted through the side splitter, through the fender, and into the car. The bolt that I showed you that's behind it is just bolted through the fender. It's not going through the side splitter. And then you line this up with the front opening here, and then the same in the back. And right now I've got some vice grips holding this into place so I can get it positioned. I've got some tape on the end so I don't scratch the powder coat or anything like that. And so I'll show you the back. It's even here with this back edge. So there's a couple spots that this is going to be mounting, and we'll show you that next. So we're back underneath looking at the side splitter, and like I mentioned, here's the bolt that's holding the front. You can see the bolt that's in this hole that's just holding the fender on, and then as you come back, you can see some holes in the bottom of the side splitter. And so with those, we're gonna mark that. I'm gonna take a center punch and then mark the center of each of these holes. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the side splitter that I just had with that one bolt and then the clamps. And I'm gonna drill holes up underneath here. Let's see if we can see where I'm pointing. Up underneath here so I can install the provided rib nuts. Take a look at the rib nut video if you're not sure what rib nuts are or how to install them. And so those will come up in underneath there. One of the nice things about this mounting location is that they don't protrude into like your footwell area of the car. They're in this kind of empty channel that's on the other side of this. So it's not something that you're gonna see inside the car. And since it rolls around and it's underneath the car, if you ever want to take the side splitter off, it's not something that you're going to see that's, in the side here. Got a little dirt right there. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to drill through this lip that drops down. Drill through this lip on the side splitter all the way through the pinch weld. So this pinch weld here, we're gonna end up having a hole through the side splitter into the pinch weld. And then there's gonna be two options to install that. We can either put a rib nut into this pinch weld and then just screw into that, or there'll be a provided nut so you can drill through and then just attach a nut on the back side. On the early Z's, the pinch weld's a lot shorter. And so because of that, it's very likely you won't be able to get a rib nut in it. And you might actually have to drill real close to this upper edge and almost up at an angle to make sure you catch that pinch weld. And so that's why we're also giving you the option to apply a nut. So on the, the early 240s, you might need to drill, right about here, slightly at an upward angle so you make sure you catch the pinch weld. And that's just to secure the side splitters even more, because you're going to secure it through the pinch weld, and then when we get one of those holes, you're going to be securing it up here on the top side as well. So I'm going to mark these and start drilling some holes. Okay, so I have the holes drilled now. And one of the things that I like to do is, take a deburr tool, and, when you're drilling holes like this, you can leave a burr on them. And so just a quick swipe with that. These were a 7.0 drill bit. So that way the size was right for the M5 riv nuts that I'm going to put in. One other thing to mention is that your pinch weld down here, sometimes previous owners have, jacked the car up on them, and so they're kind of bent and deformed and stuff. So just kind of take a look at that and make sure you have that aligned straight before you start fitting this up, because you're going to find that the side splitter is not going to either sit all the way in, or it will, but then you'll have a gap because this is bent back. So some gaps are fine. Just wherever you're mounting it, though, try to make it as straight as possible so it fits in there nice and tight. I'm going to go ahead and deburr these holes and then pop in the riv nuts. Okay, so I've got the riv nuts in. Next, I'm going to reinstall the side splitter. You can kind of see, like, if you're standing next to the car and you remove the side splitter, the holes in the riv nuts are not something that's visible on the cosmetic surface of the car. So neat little option if you wanted to take them on and off. Okay, so here we have the side splitter mounted. One of the things is that, I put all the screws up in the top first, and then before I tighten them, I threaded all these guys in along here, and then just kind of in sequence went down and tightened them. One of the things that isn't the case on this one, because it's pretty straight, is that if you find that, like, your pinch weld maybe isn't quite as true and the side splitter toes up or bows down, you can add, if you needed to, in between the seams here, you could potentially add a washer or two, and same thing with here if you needed to adjust the angle of this so it was straight. And even with just this here, like, I can pull down on this with a lot of down force, and it's nice and solid. I wouldn't recommend standing on them or jumping on them, but this is very well secured to the car now, and I'll get it down on the ground here in a few minutes, and I'll take another little shot of it. So here we have it. Just dropped it down, the lift down. We'll drop down. See the little side splitters. Try to get the angle of those lips that are sticking out. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess, but they bend out to match the angle of the lower part of the car. You can see, like, looking straight down on the car, they don't protrude out the side. So that's kind of why it's also subtle. I call it the subtle side splitter. Kind of ties in the black on the whole car. But there you have it. These are available from Skillard.com.